Hello, creative friends, and welcome to the Stampin' Squad. My name is Cheryl Dorsey. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm excited to be here with you today. It is Monday, July 28th, 2025, and we're going to make cards today. So just finishing setting up a couple things here. And I see that some of you are already jumping on, so that is awesome. Feel free to jump in the chat. Hi, Lisa and Carla. How are you guys doing today? Happy Monday. So pop in the chat if you're watching live and tell me where you're watching from, or even if you're watching the replay. Let me know where you're from. That's always big fun for me to see how far reaching the internet is because it goes everywhere. It goes everywhere. So today I'm going to make two cards for you. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm not using any designer series paper today. So if that makes you sad, I hope that you will hang with me for a few minutes because I promise they're going to be great cards, even though we're not using designer series paper. All right. Let's see what's happening over here in the chat. Oh, storms. North Carolina. I know, Carla. What is happening? What is actually happening? No designer series paper. I didn't really realize that until I just got everything set up and I was like, no paper. Okay. I guess that's the way this is going to be. It's actually a simple card. I think you're going to really love it. So let's talk about the pieces I have prepared for today. This is at the card base and it's 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And I've already scored it in the middle right here at 4.25. And this is the thick version of the basic white cardstock. If I'm using white for my card base, I like to use the thick because it's a little sturdier. This is a piece of Timid Tiger. It's one of the new in colors. And the measurement for this, I'm going to be real careful here because I've got eighths. So this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay. And then this is a piece of regular basic white. We're just going to use that as a layer. And it is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So that's all the paper we need. Let me jump over here and see how everybody's doing. Hi, Mary. Yay. Okay. Lots of weather happening, it looks like. Summer storms. Summer storms. Okay. What do we need? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish this. So that will be done. And I'm just going to stack these up and put them over here. And I'm going to, a lot of times at the beginning, I show you all the products I'm using. I think today it makes more sense for me to just tell you as we go what I am using. That way you won't be like, we're halfway through and you're like, what was that? What was that? Um, although it's fine to ask. This way, maybe it'll make more sense. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is these everyday arches dies. And as you can see, there are a bunch of them in all different sizes. And one is missing because that is the one that I used. And let me show you what I did with that. I took a piece of basic white cardstock and that die that was missing, here it is. I just used it to cut this arch shape in this piece of basic white. And this is the same size as this piece of basic white. All right, so they line up perfectly there. So I'm going to get some scrap paper and bring these two things over. And now I need a little bit of Post-it note tape. I'm going to take down this solid piece of basic white. And then I'm going to take this and just lay over the top and kind of line it up here. And I'm going to take some more tape. And I don't want anything to move. You could probably already guess what's getting ready to happen. I know, Mary, the arch dies are really nice. I love these die sets where they're all nested together and there are so many different sizes. That makes it really easy. Okay, now, ta-da! Blending brush, a blending brush. And I am going to pull out my darling duckling ink pad. So we're going to use some of those new in colors today, which I'm not tired of them yet. So I'm just going to keep using them. And let's draw a little bit of ink into this. And I know it looks weird. For some reason, you see how dark the ink pad is? The Darling Duckling just looks like that. It looks dark, but then when you use it, it's yellow. So just kind of interesting. So I'm going to start not in the center, but kind of over here, maybe on my paper or on my stencil. I'll just call this a stencil. And I'm just going to start adding some color in here. There we go. Just getting some nice Darling Duckling going there. And the reason I start over here is because if I take this right after I put the ink on it and just set it down, sometimes it leaves a blob. And I'm trying to avoid the blob. So there we go. I think I'm just going to leave it at that. Now we need another color. So, Lisa, what color do you think is next? What color is next, Lisa? I bet you know. It's a favorite. But yes, strawberry slash. Really good. We're getting to know each other. We're getting to know each other. All right. Let me grab a different blending brush and let's draw up some strawberry slush. And again, I'm just going to start over here at the side and then make my way over here and start adding some color. So as I said, I am going to show you how to make two different cards. Um, and so we are going to use some different colors, but I'm also going to use a different die. So the card, even though it's using the same idea of the negative space that's left after we do the die cut, the card will actually be quite different. So let's say that's good. And now, next, let's use Timid Tiger. And get a little bit of that. And I'm just going to make that go right kind of in between the two. So everything will kind of just blend together. So I can overlap a little bit on the Darling Duckling and overlap a little bit on Strawberry Slush. Just kind of get that filled in so there's no white space left. All right, so let's do the big reveal. And What did I get on here? If I got something on it, we're gonna flip it over and do it again. Just a minute. It looks sticky. So I don't know if it's just something from the tape or but actually, yeah, it's just kind of a sticky, weird thing. Good, good. It's gone. Okay, peel the tape away, and I'll just set that aside for a minute. And I want to do just a little bit more with the darling duckling. So this is my card base, and I don't need that tape right now. So let's put that out of the way. This is my card base. Darling duckling, please come back. And I'm going to put a little bit on the inside of my card, just right down here in the corner. Am I up high enough so you can see what I'm doing? So we're just going to bring in a little bit of that in here. All right, that's it for the blending brushes. Now, the next part is so fun. So this is just going over to the side. This is coming back. We actually don't need that scrap paper at the moment. Let's move that out of the way. Now, I'm going to bring out my secret C, which I'm also loving this color. And I am going to, now let's talk about another product that I'm going to use. I'm going to use the You Are Remarkable stamp set. So I had used this on another card a couple months ago. So you may remember that one. If not, you can always look back on the YouTube channel and find that one. I'm going to use this large daisy stamp. And because it's so big, it's easier for me to set that down and then just to turn my ink pad over and ink up my stamp like this. Okay, now we're going to stamp right on top of this. And let me see if I can get it where I want it. I think that looks pretty good. I really love the Secret C. It is actually dark blue, but it looks like black. So it's not quite as stark as black is, but it's a nice dark color. Okay. What do you guys think so far? Are we on the right track? Are we interested? Okay. Oh, I put my Secret C away and I'm not finished yet. So let's pull it back out. Yeah, Secret C. Gotta have it. Gotta have it. So now I'm going to ink up one of the sentiments that's in that stamp set. And I'm going to put this on here. Okay, right about here. So fun. Friends are flowers in the garden of life. I love that. Now let's go back to this. We're going to stamp just a little thing right down here in the corner with our Secret C again. And this is also part of that stamp set. Just a little bee. It's adorable. Just adorable. Okay. Now let's make this even more special. I get my cut and emboss machine. Here we are. Now we're going to put this in embossing folder and run it through our machine, my machine. And I'm going to use this painted texture 3D embossing folder. It is retired, but there is another current embossing folder that is very similar. It is called Painted Plaster. So that's the one that I put in the supply list, the Painted Plaster. It gives a very similar look. So let's just put this in here, and it is a 3D. So I just have my base, my platform, and then number 4 goes over it. Let's run that through. Move this away for a minute. Okay, so let me hold this up so you can actually see it a little bit. It's a kind of a subtle background, but it does give some texture to this layer of our card. There we are. Okay, now bringing these things back, let's do some layering. This is going to go on here. So let me grab my multi-purpose glue. Oops, it stopped coming out. There it goes. We'll put this right on here. Are there any timid tiger fans out there? Also, one of the new in colors. I don't know if I already said that. Then this is going to layer on top, and it's just got the tiniest, tiniest little white margin around the edge. So let's put this on. So today's cards are all about using the negative space, which sometimes I forget about because we get all these great dies, and I like to use the die cut pieces, but I forget that when you die cut something out, you also have kind of a stencil where you could use the negative space. Well, here we go. Right? Let's add one more little thing. I have my brushed brass butterflies. Let's put one of those on. We got the little bee inside, but let's put one of these on the front of our card, right in here. Okay, there we are. That's our card. So something a little different, but I think still think it's really pretty because these colors are really nice. All right, let me show you this one other one that I had made. It's the same, except instead of using a layer of Timid Tiger, I used a layer of Strawberry Slush. So that is really pretty as well. Okay, now let's do something different. Let me grab my pieces and parts for this. Again, we've got that thick basic white card base, and I am going to use a piece of the strawberry slush, and then we've got our other layer that is the basic white. Let's go ahead and fold and burnish this. Let me see what you guys are up to. Hold on. Yeah, it's kind of fun to do something without DSP once in a while. Once in a while. Yep, timid tiger and strawberry slush. I know it's kind of hard to tell which one I like better too, Carla, because I did when I was making these, because I prepped these for my stamp club that meets at my house every month. I used the strawberry slush, but then when I made one with the tinted tiger, I couldn't decide. I could not decide. They're both really great, vibrant colors. Okay, this is just going to sit over here. We are going to start by putting some color on this piece of cardstock. We've got some scrap paper again, and I prepared our stencil earlier today. Let me show you what I used. Okay, these are the stylish shapes dies, and I used three of these circles. And let me show you the stencil. I've already got a couple pieces of tape on it. Here's the stencil. Now I used this and made a different card so you can see there's color on here, but we're not using those colors to make our card today. I'll show you this one at the end. All right, let's put this here and let's get some tape so it doesn't wiggle. Whoops. All right, there we go. And I'll just stick one more piece on there. And now I'm going to take this. It's the same size as my white layer, so then I can pretty easily line that up, and we'll tape this down. Now, I am going to use strawberry slush, of course. So let's get that. And I already have this blending brush that we just used a few minutes ago with some strawberry slush on it. So let's just use that. And I'm going to do this large circle with the strawberry slush. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. There we go. Okay. Now I've got a couple different colors that I want to use. I am going to use Flirty Flamingo and Pretty in Pink. So this one was Strawberry Slush. Let's do one with Flirty Flamingo. And I've got one of the smaller blending brushes here that we'll use with the Flirty Flamingo. So I have not actually made this card before with these colors. So we're all going to see it together for the first time. But it just seemed to me that these three kind of pinkish colors would look fun together. There's our Flirty Flamingo. And now a little bit of the Pretty in Peach. It's a really light color, so I'm not sure how dark we'll be able to get it, but we'll find out. Yeah, it's coming through. Okay. So they all look like bright pink, but they are all slightly different. So let's do the big reveal again. There we are. I'm going to hold this up so you can get a better look at it and see if you can kind of distinguish the colors. Okay. So depending on how great the camera is, I don't know, can you tell the difference in the colors? They are a little bit different. So we've got that. Now, we grab that card base again, bring it over, and we're going to put some color in the corner. And I'll just do the pretty in pink. Okay. Up high enough so you can see. I'm kind of like using my whole work surface today. There we go. All right, got that. Now, what is next? Let me move this out of the way. And we're going to do some stamping. And I'm going to use this little piece of a scrap of basic white. The stamp set that I'm going to use is the beautiful butterflies. And in just a minute, I'm going to use one of the dies from that as well. So here are the stamps that I am using. I'm using two of the butterfly stamps, and then I'm using the sentiment that says so thankful. I'm going to go back to my secret C. And ink up that sentiment. There we go. And now let's do some butterflies. I have to check my hand here. Always when I'm working with white cardstock, I seem to get ink on my fingers, and that is not a good look on your white cardstock. So I have to check, make sure I'm not getting dangerously messy here. So this I'm just going to put here. It looks so pretty on the paint. Okay, like I said, I done this yet, so I wasn't 100% sure, but I thought it would look good, so I was willing to risk it with you guys. There's a couple of the big butterflies, and now let's do this little one. Kind of like this. Hey. Yep, you guys are chatting away over there. Awesome. Okay, perfect. I want to die cut this out. So I am going to use one of the dies from the beautiful butterflies dies. And it's just this little one right here, which I think will be perfect for So Thankful. Let's set that aside. And then let's go ahead and talk about this. We want to use an embossing folder for this. I'm going to use a different one than I did on the first card. For this one, I'm going to use the pressed flowers embossing folder. So let's pull that out. Take a look at it. So it's got, I don't know how well you can see, but these little stems and all these little leaves and flowers. So we're going to use that, which will look really fun, I'm sure. Okay, we need the machine. We get the machine. All right, and for this, I need platform and this little thin plate for die cutting and one plate number 3. Let me grab some tape to hold this in place. See if I can get centered here. And another plate number three. And that should be just what we need. Okay. We've got our sentiment now. Are so thankful. There we go. So let's just set that aside. And now we want to do the embossing. So this is a regular embossing folder. It is not a 3D embossing folder. So here's the base platform. And when you're using a standard embossing folder, you're going to also use the number three plates. So let's do get that ready. And now I'm going to put my butterflies in here. Sorry, you guys can't really see. And I'm going to line this up so that the top of the pattern is kind of right here at the top of my cardstock. If I get it in there straight, there we go. And now let's put our last plate on top and run this one through. And that embossing folder, the pressed flowers embossing folder, is an online exclusive. So you won't see it in your catalog. You have to go online, find that one. And you probably remember that on my website, which I don't think I pointed out to you. So I'm going to do that right now. So I don't forget website. There's the website. So if you go to the website and you look at the projects page, you'll see this card. And, or maybe it's this one with the timid tiger. You'll see a card like that. You'll recognize it. And so if you click on that, you'll find the shopping list, right? And that's how you find all the things that I used to make the project. Let me hold this up so you can really see this because I think it's so, so pretty. It's very dainty, but I love the way that looks. This is the first time that I've used this embossing folder. I had not used it on any other card. So I love the way that it looks. Okay. Now, oh, you know what? Let's stamp that little butterfly down in the corner here. We did prep it with our pretty ink pen. So we'll put that sweet little butterfly right there. Right, now we need to do our layers here. And then we'll put a little bling on our card, of course. And that's kind of loopy, so I'm gonna spread it around a little bit. So as you can see, this card is going to be a landscape orientation. The other one was portrait. I don't do a whole lot of landscape cards. I don't know why. I just always kind of assume that I'm doing portrait and start off in that direction. And so it would have been better if I put that over there. Am I going to change it? No, because butterflies fly in every direction. That's what I'm saying. Butterflies fly in every direction. I could do it like that, but I actually like it better like that. So that's how I'm going to do it. There we go. This goes on next. And we've got to put our sentiment on here too. All right. There we are with just that tiny little white margin around the edge. And I chose the strawberry slush for the layer back here, but you could have gone with the flirty flamingo or the pretty in pink. Those would coordinate too. Let's see. I'm decide. I'm not going to prop it up. I'm not going to. I know that shocks some of you. But I'm just going to glue it right on the front of the card. Right here. Because the embossing folder is so bumpy, not sure how well a dimensional will stick on there, will stay. So I'm going to go with glue, which I know will stay in place. Now we need some bling. We need some bling. This is the strawberry blush and pretty in pink gems. So let's see. Which ones? Cannot decide. Okay, I'm going to go with the strawberry slush ones. Either one, any of them would work, right? But let's use these. And gonna put one right here, and then one of these little ones. Let's see, right here. And let's see, one more. I'll use one of the larger ones. How about that? Oops, doesn't want to pick it up. There we are. Being a little stubborn. I'm gonna scoot that up just a little. There we go. That's what I want. Okay, here we are. Got a little fuzzy on it. Super cute. I love that. I have not made one with purples, but I think that would be really pretty too. Yellows would also be really pretty. Yellows, purples. I think of a lot of different colors that would look really nice in this design. All right, let me show you the other one that I've made. And I was inspired because I've been seeing monarch butterflies in my backyard. And so this one I used, I don't remember now if I used timid tiger or pumpkin pie. I think I used pumpkin pie for the layer. And then the three orange colors are pumpkin pie, timid tiger, and peach pie. So those are the three orangey colors that I used. I used that same embossing folder, but I used early espresso ink on this one because I was thinking of the monarchs. And they're kind of orange and brown, I think. I don't know, is it orange and black? Anyway, mine are orange and brown. That's what I used. And then I just used some purple, not purple, pearl gems on that one. All right, let me bring back these other two. So I hope that these cards kind of get you thinking about the dies that you have, or the dies that you want, and like an alternative way to using them besides just die cutting out and using the die cut pieces. So these are just calling them negative space cards. And does anybody want to weigh in with a favorite? Anybody have a favorite? Carla loves them all. Oh, and Lisa is jumping off the strawberry slush team and jumping on to the timid tiger team. All right, all right, that's good. That's good. And I see up in the comments, you guys are helping each other out with when things are coming back in stock. So I appreciate that. Thanks for doing that. And also mentioning that Stampin' Up! Now has a feature on the website where if you're looking at something and it is not currently in stock, you have an opportunity to click and request that an email be sent to you as soon as that item comes back in stock. So that's a great new feature if you haven't already used that. So I think that's it for today. I showed you my website earlier, so you can hop over there, see this project and lots of other projects, and click and see the shopping list and the measurements and all the things that you might need. Of course, you can always reach out to me. You can email me or contact me through the website and ask me any questions, or if you need any help or anything like that, I'm happy to chat with you. All right, that is it for today, and I will be back next Monday with another card for you. So I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next Monday. Bye bye.